Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the CSL playoffs. I'm Joe. I'm joined here today by Tempo, and we are getting ready to go into a pretty awesome match between Temple and Ontario Tech here today.
That we are. The Temple, right? That is like the juggernaut, even though the juggernaut is on the other team, which Jason is going to be coming out in order to at least raise that flag for his college.
Yeah, we got a little international battle going on here between Canada and the U.S. Temple, I think, is probably the scariest team here in the CSL. They've got guys like Suppy, like Tesla, and then they've got a decent bit of depth with some Masters players behind them. On the flip side of things, I think that Ontario Tech is maybe a little bit more depth, but their highs aren't quite as high, so they kind of have to win every winnable match to win this, whereas Temple doesn't necessarily need to do that. So
right. The pressure is on.
Yeah, so without further ado, we are getting into our first game here, spawning in the top left-hand corner. It is our blue Zerg player, Bears.
And in the bottom right-hand corner from Sloth Esports Club, it is the red Zerg player, Kona, aka Suppy.
So I think one thing I do want to point out before we get started here is, you might think Suppy versus a guy named Bears. This isn't going to be much of a match, but Bears is actually a former and a pro. He went by the name of Rise back in the day. He played for Complexity. He won. I was looking at his results earlier. He was able to win, just some daily cups, minor type tournaments. He never was able to win any huge event, but this is a guy that played the game at a very high level previously, and I think you can never count someone like that out. It's not like it's Suppy going up against a random scrub. So I'm really excited to see these kind of two old school players clash in a very different game than when both of them were at their peak.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about it. And the time that you probably saw Rise competing, aka Bears, was most likely a time when there was, the region lock wasn't in place, right? And Koreans usually would dominate those tournaments. And we didn't really have the base trade events, and I guess maybe we had Gopher SC2 Cups, and it could even go back to like Playhems and whatnot. But yeah, he was definitely in a different time period, but he is still showing his love for the game as he comes out to represent his college here, University of Ontario Tech. But it's going to be a tough match for him here, going against one of, I'd say a top foreigner right now, but not in the same light as, say, like Scarlet, as Suppy is still in school.
Yeah, top North American player.
Right, there we go. Top North American, I would say.
Like top 16 North American, I think Suppy probably qualifies as one of the better Zergs once you get past those, the Jon Snows.
Yep. The
maybe Game Time is up there. Scarlet,
Panda Bear Me's, and I feel like yeah. But he's still been showing some pretty good games, showing that he hasn't lost his touch, and he's going to be going into a ZVZ where people like to say that anything can happen in it, but I feel like if your micro is on point, you don't lose to a straight up 13-12 or something, it can usually go to the player who just has the better understanding of the matchup. So since there's not going to be any real early pools or anything like that, that's already step one here. I would say that Suppy might have that advantage in. But honestly, I don't know how much Bears has been playing, so sometimes you'll get these players that might have dipped out of the spotlight or may not necessarily be in the running for Nation Wars or go into the WCS events, but they still play on ladder. They maintain a much better MMR than I've ever got. You know what I mean? Like these players that are just, they play the game. They're good at it. I think you mentioned to me Kane even came back, and he's kind of
I did see Kane playing. That's kind of who I was thinking about when you were saying all that. It does look now like Bear's going to get a couple of wings into the natural of Suppy. He does see the drone count there, which is probably going to tell him quite a bit in terms of what Suppy might be doing. Gonna presume he's taking that third here, and Suppy actually going to get a better scout off getting into the main. Nothing really to see here, but sometimes not seeing anything is half the battle.
Yeah, this is good for Suppy, and he kept his lings alive. He might even get them out, but he might also try to take out a drone. I don't think he should be able to get any drones here, but he's confirmed everything that he wants to see and it's given him the faith to drone up a little bit more, put down that Roach Warren, which is actually coming before the lair. There's no Evo or anything like that either just yet. So we'll see where he takes this right now, because he definitely has enough gas to go up to lair, but he doesn't feel comfortable doing so yet. So we'll see. Does he put the Evo down first or not? Because I think there's going to be a bit of some aggression coming here from Bears.
Yeah, here
a lot
comes
of
that
aggression,
first
actually.
poke. That's a lot of banelings behind this. Suppy's going to need to do a really good job of preserving his banelings, not letting them detonate on just a few lings like that. He does have a couple more coming in from the back here, but Bears also has a lot of banelings of his own to neutralize these. Great hit from Suppy here, as he's going to clean up most of this force, and the ling reinforcements are going to clean up that first wave, but there is a second wave coming in from Bears, and that's going to force some really tough decisions out of Suppy here, as his 2 queens at the third go down.
Yeah, and he lost a Baneling. He had a last Baneling at his natural. Bears is moving on in, but he is getting surrounded by the drones. It seems like he's going to commit to this, you know? It's not like he's droning up after it. He wants to kill Suppy right now. Can he actually make it happen before the roaches come out to save the day?
Yeah, we're going to have to see here. He's trying to make things happen, but look, this attack is petering out. There's another wave of lings coming in behind this here, but each hold is starting to maybe look a little bit easier. This is pure ling, not a lot of banes. Suppy has banes in the back. His first roaches already out here. He just has to hang on for a few more moments, and I think he'll find himself in an absolutely great position as those banelings finish up.
Yeah, Suppy shouldn't die to this anymore. It's not like he has +1 on the lings here, Bears. But, you know, it is a lot of pressure here, and this could stop Suppy from hitting injects. He's using queens to defend. I think he lost quite a few of them, so he might fall behind in that department. But that's still a lot of lings here, and that hatchery's getting awfully low. But yeah, I honestly don't think he should lose it here.
Bears definitely trying to put the pressure on here, trying to draw Suppy's forces out just by harassing that queen constantly. There's a lot of banelings here from Suppy, but there's no speed or anything like that, so can't even try to engage off a creep. Bears is continuing to poke around. He's circling, looking for the weaknesses in the armor, but he's got a limited number of attack paths here unless he wants to walk all the way around to the right.
Yep. Well, Suppy actually gets 2 banelings inside of the main. He gets a good explosion on one of the packs of drones, but 6 end up going down. And Suppy's coming for a counterattack. Now, I was thinking before, Bears probably would have loved it if the lings, the second wave that he made, were drones. But it does look like he's going to have to deal with the counterattack. He's trying to use the lings as best as he can, as he dodges a few banes, but he does lose a decent amount of those lings.
Yeah, doing a good job of being everywhere at once is Suppy. But at the end, neither player takes too much damage here. Worker counts basically equalized here. Suppy cranking out another 11 drones as I say that, so his worker supply does absolutely skyrocket here. And now he's going to find himself in a really comfortable economic lead.
Yeah, this is the thing that Bears probably wanted to do, hoping that his second wave of lings were going to do more, but they really didn't do much at all. Sure, they brought back the units of Suppy so that he didn't all out just straight up die. But, you know, at the end of the day, things have kind of stabilized, and I think Suppy gets the better end of that exchange, or series of exchanges, and another one. Oh, knowing when those banes, or rather the lings, were going to go up that ramp. So, yeah, Suppy's in a great spot. Like, if you ever drone up by, like, 10+ drones, and then you don't get attacked in that next 30 seconds or so, you're feeling pretty good about life. And I think Suppy, yeah, even though neither of them have their lair yet, this is just a beautiful position here for Suppy.
Yeah, Suppy looking to move out onto the map here. The roach counts are pretty similar. He might even be at a slight disadvantage. I'm not sure why he's trying to press this attack here.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't know that there was just hatchery tech, like if the speed ever finished for Bears before Suppy's did and he got caught out on the map, that would be pretty bad. But I don't think he plans to really commit to an attack here, not at least until +1 is done. And just by the way the game is going, it looks like it's going to hit with speed as well. So maybe just a little bit of a scare tactic here in order to make sure that Bears doesn't get comfortable droning.
Yeah, Suppy is going to take those home. Bears continuing to get some drones out onto the third, but Suppy maintaining a sizable worker lead here.
That's such a big lead, too. Like, oh, man, 54-40. This 3-base economy, it's definitely faring, or at least favoring Suppy better just because he's able to mine the gas over at the third now. He didn't take any counter damage. And remember, he had a Baneling attack that got like 6 drones as well. So,
yeah, and
Bears maybe felt like he had to catch up.
as both of these guys kind of crank into the next stage of the game here, as they have their +1, their roach speed, and it's just going to be nothing but roach production, Suppy's going to be able to afford so many more roaches. He's going to be able to afford those banelings with the extra gas, like you mentioned, to help clean up any kind of ling buffer, and he's just going to have overall a better army. It looks like Bear's actually going for some Ravagers here. Maybe saying, I know I can't win a straight-up fight, I'm going to try to make these corrosive biles make some magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, if that's definitely something that you can do in order to try to at least even the odds or turn them in your favor. Now, yeah, I believe with road speed finishing for both players, this is going to be the tech path that we see. No kind of cheeky muta switches. Oh my god, Suppy getting such value out of Banes on that left side. And this makes this attack a lot less scary for Suppy to defend. And look at the concave he's going to be setting up here. With 123 army supply to the 86 of Bears, man, this attack is not going to do anything. I don't care how many Ravages you have, Joe.
Yeah, and it looks like big engagement coming up here. These roaches getting a huge wraparound on absolutely everything. I think Suppy's going to chase this back and just run over his opponent here with that massive 40 supply lead.
Oh my god, yeah. And then the counterattack, what does Bears do here? He has no spine crawlers to fall back to or anything like that. He's just going to have to take this one here. This is a huge force coming out of Suppy. And I think this is just too much Zerg. The roaches are going to be able to get on top of the other roaches. And now Suppy has Ravagers of his own as well. So there's no advantage when it comes down to unit composition at all. It's only going to be the numbers advantage. And that is in Suppy's favor 100%.
All right. And first map going to Suppy here, taking that victory against Bears and Ontario Tech, putting Tesla, or not Tesla, Tempo in a 1-0 lead. We've got a Tesla, Tempo, and Temple in today's match.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
So try to keep those untangled.
Yeah. So many T's.
Just really well done by Suppy. Absolute supply and macro dominance, not taking the damage that Bears wanted to do from those first attacks. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be right back with the next map, and that is going to be Tesla versus Exiled. This is the CSL playoffs, $10,000 prize pool. Only one of these guys will advance, so don't go anywhere.
but she said, trust me, these are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell, but I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL playoffs. We're getting into game number 2 here, where Temple leads with a 1-0 advantage.
Yes, they do. As we jump into another, mirror match. It's not going to be the same kind of mirror match, though, ladies and gentlemen. So if you hate ZVZ, then you know what? It's okay, because we're going to be jumping into a PvP. So it is going to be between Exiled and Tesla, who's repping SEPTA. And Joe, what is SEPTA?
So SEPTA is our local train system here. Stands for Southeastern Pennsylvania Transport Authority. And I gotta say, I wish more players would rep municipal infrastructure and spawning here in the top left. It is Tesla playing for Temple.
And then
He's even got the logo as his clan tag.
Why? In the bottom left-hand corner, he's playing for University of Ontario Tech. Give it up for Exiled. You know what's funny about this? The map actually has train tracks on it, so you know this could be a home field advantage for your boy Tesla.
Interesting. Another thing is, Tesla or SEPTA, much like Tesla, is often late and often confusing.
Very.
So maybe that's why Rob kind of feels a kinship with the the local train authority. So if you guys don't know too much about Tesla, he's a really high level player, coming up in that kind of semi-pro arena. He's done well at local lands like Cheesadelphia, where he got top 8.
Yep.
Getting out of a group with Massa in it, even in first place. Just overall a really good player, but he plays in really interesting ways. He likes to do some gimmicky stuff, especially if he feels better than the player he's playing, and that can sometimes be a weakness. You know, we saw him lose to a guy that was in Platinum League at the time.
That we did. And I don't care what anybody tells me, man. That's exactly what happened. Abyssal Reef, never forget.
The 3-base Ling Flood.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, recently there was a patch where the Overlord drop was taken away and moved to Lair Tech. So that wouldn't work in this patch, but you know what? You gotta go for what you can at the time that it's available to you. Now, speaking of what you were talking about, Joe, there is a pylon in the middle, the southern middle of the map, and it's gonna be a Stargate.
I like this. Open up aggressive. That Oracle's gonna get there really fast. It's a weird location to scout too.
Yeah, this is such a big map too, so it's so hard to ever find any proxies on this map. I do like the fact that Exiled is going to be opening up with Stalkers, so he can go onto the map, figure out if there's any proxies around, but he has to get back to that mineral line if he doesn't put a shield battery in it. So he's probably just going to keep it at home.
Yeah, cute block with the probe there. Actually managing to take that probe out with a Stalker shot and a probe shot out of Exiled. I do think we should talk about Exiled for a moment, because I was looking at his profile.
Okay.
He's a very high Masters player. So this is once again a case where I would favor Temple, but it's not like it's Tesla going up against a scrub. I think when you have any super high level player, you can have a good day, you can have a bad day, and you can have a matchup where the not favored player wins, even if it's a pretty unexpected result.
Yeah. Especially when you were talking about Tesla doing some kind of funky stuff like this. This is it's not that risky, but it's definitely something out of the ordinary where if it were to be scouted, you shut down that Stargate, then this kind of falls on its face. Yeah, but when that Oracle comes this quick, I think, Exiled should be like, okay, it's got to be not in your main, because this is a pretty big map.
Yeah, this is such a fast Oracle. There's 1 Stalker in the main right now. There's 3 more at the natural to try to help out with this. But Tesla can get maximum damage out of this first Oracle here. He's happy to tank those shots, trade this out for maybe 7, 8, 9 probes.
Yo, and there's a lot of times where they say, hey, save the Oracle, let it live. so that you can use it for later. But when you see one stalker in the mineral line, you go for that opportunity to get as much economic damage as possible. Yeah, and that is a perfect Oracle right there, right? That's like when Oracles first came out, you know? Like, Oracles don't see that kind of damage anymore.
Yeah, that
even
was
when
11.
They're proxied. 11 workers. I mean, look at it, 23 to 14.
Workers.
Yep.
And look at what the follow-up's going to be. It's just a huge stalker push here.
Yeah, well, this is a very interesting follow-up from Tesla, who did not expand. And the fact that he's going to be going into the base of Exiled while Exiled is moving across the map, trying to get some kind of a blink aggression going. Uh-oh. Tesla getting there first. And this is perfect. I mean, there's no proxy pylon that is even that close to the base of Tesla. And he's going to be able to take out the warp-in point, or rather the pylon that was powering 2 of the gateways.
Yeah, this is such a great move from Tesla here. We do see everything being shut down, basically. I think that's going to trigger Exile to go for a type of base trade strategy. But
Yeah.
In some ways, Tesla has a huge advantage just because he has more probes right now. And also, he has more buildings all over the map.
And then he just recalls back. So even though Blink is done here for Exiled, the numbers game, is it better for Tesla? How many stalkers? 8 to 8, though. So Blink is actually going to be better for Exiled. But
Yeah.
he's getting surrounded by probes here, Joe.
With the probes, it's just enough. GG is called, and Tesla takes a really weird game, too, there.
Are you surprised, though, as far as it being weird?
Well, I guess maybe I was surprised by the weird response, but then you do a weird response because a weird thing's done to you.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you are up against Stargate, it's nice to be going Blink, right? It just was an unfortunate scenario because the majority of the stalkers were in the natural, right? So you never know where the Oracle is going to come from. So if you assume it's going to come from the main, well, guess what? The main is closer to the natural, and usually they fly through the natural to get there. So it was reasonable to put his stalkers there, but I don't know. Did he actually ever take the Nexus, or
No, I don't think either of them took the Nexus.
no, right?
But
Damn.
my guess is he was planning on it, and then he lost 11 probes.
Yeah, that can kind of throw a wrench in your plan, right?
Yeah, and then all he can think is attack, attack, attack. All right, guys, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with our 2v2. This is match point. If Temple takes this match, they take, or this map rather, they take the whole series. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Gee.
Between us, before tomorrow comes, and it all gets lost again. The ashes burn down brightest when we've everything to lose. So scribble me out. Mistakes erased, forgotten. Life goes on without me. But she said, trust me, These are the stories we will tell as I stood frozen, infinite. I almost fell, but I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I know God, let me go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We are getting ready to go into our third game of the evening. Kwame, if Temple wins here, it's all over.
Yeah, and I saw Daddy Tugboat in the chat, so I didn't realize he was playing. So best of luck to him. But honestly, I'm kind of rooting for the other team here, University of Ontario. Put one on the board. They were the underdogs coming into this one, and it's a 2v2, so maybe they have some kind of cool strategy set up. But you're going to be going against some pretty strong players in this next one.
Yes.
Wow, what a map.
Spawning here in the top side of Shrines of Lazul, it is Daddy Tugboat and his teammate playing for the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transport System.
No, he's trained for them. What are you talking about?
It is Tesla.
Oh boy, and in the bottom left hand, or rather the bottom section of the map, representing University of Ontario Tech, it is the blue Terran player, Move, to something you usually say when you're on the SEPTA, and you know him already. It is Bears, the green Zerg player who used to be known as Rise. And you know what I forgot to do, Joe? Switch my observer interface, so I get that.
Oh man. That is kind of a running theme in the CSL. So I'll be doing most of the data analysis here.
I mean, I can analyze Bears like a mofo, but it's about it.
All right, I'll leave the heavy lifting to Bears to you here.
Yeah, I got you.
Tesla already being super annoying to a move with this probe here.
Mm-hmm. He was actually doing that in the last game, being a little annoying. Not like that crazy with it, but he definitely was doing some kind of micro in order to mess with the probe's pathing when it was trying to put down like the cyber core, I think it was. But like you said, that's what he loves to do. He loves to get into his opponent's head and let him know. He's like, yo guys, it's like, it's me, it's Rob, it's your boy. But in the type of matchup, it's definitely not your boy, because he's trying to knock you out of the CSL right now, or at least put a loss on your record. But wow, this is a very early pool coming out from both.
Yeah, I mean, it's Shrines of Lizul, right? So you're gonna early pool because everything you do is basically proxied to your opponent.
I know, yeah. Even if you put it in your base.
Yeah, put a gateway in your main. That's a proxy gateway. I mean, the distance between the two bases is about the same as where Tesla put his proxy Stargate last game.
Yeah, it takes shorter for a zealot to walk from the gateway than the warp in time if you were to do it in their base. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can already tell that's how they're playing. Very, very, you could say safe/aggressive, but it's basically just, you don't want to get caught off guard by some early lings like this if you do go for a hatch first.
Oh, this is a little bit tough out of Tugboat here. Getting chased down by these Reapers. Speed does kick in here. That's going to allow him to do a little bit of juking and dancing. Maybe pulling these units back, trying to buy some time for Tesla here as Tesla cranking out these Adepts.
Yeah, I love that he's doing this, by the way. Tugboat out on the map with the more mobile unit that won't get surrounded that easily. While, his opponent, or rather his teammate, Tesla, just setting up, getting the shield battery, playing very defensive. Tugboat did expand, while Rise or Bears did not expand. So it's a 12, but it's at least a very fast pool gas with the Baneling Nest. While his opponent not necessarily going for that. He's looking like it's a mass ling, if anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Tugboat's going to go back into Masslings off 2 hatches, and Kwame, I do believe mastling off two hatches beats mastling off one hatch as long as they can hang on after getting those adepts around. They're in so much trouble.
Oh, Tesla does lose one of those adepts. He might lose another one here, but I think it's going to survive with just a tiny bit of HP. Yeah, it survives here. So the main advantage here that University of Ontario has is going to be that Baneling nest. I love the Reapers. If they don't get surrounded, one does go down here, Joe, and they can be so powerful in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a map with a lot of cliffs here, right? It looks like that second, or the natural, rather, going to go down for Tugboat sitting on just 6 workers. Tesla is going to have to try to win this game nearly single-handedly as Bears tries to break up this ramp. He's got 6 adepts to work with. Maybe with some brilliant target firing and some shade micro, he can make this happen.
It could happen. Oh, man. With Tugboat getting kind of X'd out of the equation here, he still has some queens that can help out. The transfuse is going to be nice here. Now, it's going to be up to Tesla 100%. And you know what? He can pull it off. He's going for a Dark Shrine as well as Resonating Glaives, which is going to do amazingly against everything that his opponents have. So
yeah, it's going to... I mean, they've seen all these adepts, right? So it's going to be on them to identify what's going on. Tesla needs to get behind this wall ASAP because look at...
The Reapers are going for the shield battery, though. They could get so many probe kills, but, I mean, getting the shield battery is not a bad snipe either. That did have full energy.
Yeah, now they're going to move into the probe line here. Tesla are going to finally warp in some defensive adepts to try to deal with this, but 2 adepts can't deal with this many Reapers.
Nope. They do have the Resonating Glaives, but this micro out of a move, I get it. It's like a Canadian thing. Oh, my God. I'm so bad at life. Oh, I love it. Oh, this is awesome. I think Tesla's mineral line is completely obliterated here. There's nothing. Now, how many Resonating Glaive adepts are there? Oh, there's one.
Are 3 DTs on the map.
Deets. Okay.
But
now, where's the detection?
The command center's on the way. Or the orbital, rather.
Oh, I didn't even realize he didn't go for the orbital. Oh, it's a second orbital. Okay.
Yeah, so and a move is getting his engineering bay up. He's saving scans. I think Temple's out of this one.
I think so, too. The DTs are going to have to do a hell of a lot of damage. They're going to be going for the Spore Crawler. And you know what? There's not a lot of attacking units here at the main base of Bears, but with the Queen support, they're going to take out the Deets. And Tesla's like, nice. And I can just hear him saying that right now. Oh, my God.
G is called. Bears and A move put one on the board for Canada and Ontario Tech.
That makes me really happy, though. I always hate to see my homies fall, but when the underdog is able to bring it back, it tends to be in the 2v2, right? Like, you have to get into another mindset when you step onto the 2v2 scene. So, they definitely were linked up a bit better than Rob and Daddy Tugboat, but...
Yeah, good strategies coming out of them. Good aggression. It does mean we're going to be going to Game 4 on Neon Violet Square. That's going to be a 1v1 between Centaur Watt and Juggernaut Jason. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back.
but she said, trust me. These are the stories we will tell as I stood frozen, infinite. I almost fell, but I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I know God, let me
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. I'm Joe. I'm here with Tempo, and we are getting ready to hop into another match point.
We are.
Yeah, between
Tempo, Caston Tempo, with 2 Terrans. Triple T, baby.
So if this ends right here, all of our 1v1s are mirrors tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
But we got one of each.
Yeah, that's the cool part about it, right? That's really rare.
That's an interesting spread. We have a lot more Zerg and Protoss than Terran in, is it fair to just say in StarCraft?
I think so. Zerg is definitely a very heavily represented race. So yeah, I would say. I think that was somebody posted on Reddit the other day, like, well, can you look at this, man? Have you looked at the distribution? Yeah, check the statistics, you know?
Spawning here in the top left-hand corner, it is the Yellow Terran for Ontario Tech. It is Juggernaut Jason.
With this classic yellow. And in the bottom of Neon Violet Square, it is the Green Terran player, Centaur. Wow.
So this is another match where I think we all know who the favorite is. But Centaur Wah, when he was active, I know was a super high Masters player. He took games off GMs all the time. Jason's a little different than taking a game off of a GM. But Centaur's got some interesting cheeky play. And maybe he can bust something out here to try to take a game off.
It could happen. This is a pretty big map as well. A lot of places to hide different things. So if Jason isn't being very meticulous with his scouting, or doesn't prepare enough, or plays a little bit too greedy, he could get caught. But who knows? Centaur, maybe he changed his ways and he's going to try to take Jason in a straight up match here. But we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on the SCVs and see where it's going to lead to.
Going
I know Jason does
straight in the factory is Centaur.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yep.
So I don't know if we're going to see too much changing of the ways here. I know he's been a little inactive, so maybe he's still leaning towards like some strategies that are kind of not in the meta right now. But that can catch your opponent off guard.
Yeah, it could. I wonder where he's going to go with this, right? Because Jason is going to opt to go for the expansion first. So he scouted the factory. If I no, he doesn't even know that the factory started.
Whoa!
But he did see the gas.
Kwame,
What?
Does
No
he
way!
See...
Jason with the sixth sense.
Spidey senses. So if you blinked, you missed that. Centaur tried to proxy a second factory inside Jason's third, but Jason sniffed it out.
That's insane how quick that was. He must have saw the SCV go there too. So maybe this command center build was a blessing in disguise. Now that's actually a really big deal if you think about it. Oh, goodbye Green Reaper. Because that Centaur, he probably had this build planned out in his head, like this is how it's gonna go down. And now he has to adjust on the fly, and he's looking like he wants to go for Cloaked Banshee with a Cyclone at least here, whether it's for defense or to put some pressure on. Definitely not going to be the same amount of pressure that he was planning to put on.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge blow to Centaur's plans. That's such a weird place to put a factory.
Well, usually you see like Stargates there, you know, Protoss have been doing the Void Ray Shield Battery cheese. But for it to be a factory, right, it makes me wonder if he wanted to do some kind of pincer attack when he pushed up the ramp and then come from behind as well.
Yeah, just like a Reaper can shut that factory down even when it's 99% built, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But it's usually, I don't know. I mean, unless you're like really paranoid, you're not going to check there.
That's
true.
I
I think a lot of people have just learned, you have a Reaper, it's meant for scouting, you might as well check back there. And if he had any kind of hint that was going to happen or a proxy was going to happen, you know, check in there first, making sure. Because you don't want to kick yourself after the match. Like, I can't believe I died to that.
Yeah, these Reapers are going to come up here and get a full scout. This is painful also. Even going to lose some SCVs is Centaur here, as Jason is just dancing around this Cyclone.
Yep, he's going to lose one of the Reapers, though, but that full scout is so important, seeing that it's not going to be some weird Liberator range build. Unless you proxied the armory, which...
Yeah, I was going to say this. The full scout is especially important when the guy goes and builds a factory in your third base.
Wow. Anything is possible, I'll tell you. StarCraft 2 is a beautiful game. Expect the unexpected, I'll tell you. But the Banshee does move into the natural base of Jason. Only picks off about 2 workers, which is about the same as those Reapers did. And this is a much heavier priced unit here, especially since he did invest into the cloak. So that's not going his way so far for Centaur.
Yeah, I mean, Centaur does have a slight army lead right now, but it's not going to last for very long here. And his army lead, he's got this tank, which is a great unit if he can get it to siege up, but that's almost like a slow pressure here. There's another Banshee joining up. Every unit here for Centaur is super valuable. Jason's units are basically just a meat shield trying to buy him a minute.
Okay, well, yeah, having to land the Vikings is usually not a good idea, but I mean, it looks like getting that extra damage versus mechanical is going to work out for him. And there's really just not a lot for Centaur. However, the Banshee goes back into the main. This is the second one, by the way, forcing out another scan. The Vikings, man, what can they not do, Joe? They
These are like
against
the
the push.
Gun.
They pop up. Wow.
Top Gun Vikings here.
Yeah, when both of your Vikings have 1 kill and it's not a TVZ, then you're doing something right.
All right, Centaur's going to go for what I think is probably his last push of the game. He does still have this tank out, which is going to be helpful. He's got a couple Marines going to clean this up.
He's like, Marine, siege up! But that does slow it down. Like, time is not on your side if you're Centaur. And neither is positioning. Jason getting a beautiful position at the top of his ramp. Unless we're going to see a scan coming out, I don't even know if that's going to help out. I think the Banshee's trying to reposition the units, but not even going to happen. Get out of there, Banshee!
Oh, it does get out, but I mean, there's another scan very, very soon here, and it's just wailing away at a supply depot, which is not going to help anything.
No, I think his plan was to hopefully kill some of the tanks to make this push a bit easier to do. But with the third tank coming out, I just do not see any way that Centaur can push up this ramp. If he had a medevac or something and he could boost into the main somehow, that would be great. But trying to push this here, okay, well, here comes another Banshee though, Joe. So the scan goes into the main, and now we have another Banshee. And I don't believe that there is a scan ready here for Jason. So one of the tanks, oh, the save though!
Yeah, and Jason has the kind of micro where he can do that for a while. These Vikings are just protecting the high ground here, And Centaur's like doing a good job of staying in this game considering that everything went wrong for him, but he's still got to find a way to make this push do something, or at least keep Jason in this kind of soft contain while he gets his SCVs out.
Yeah, if only these could have been sieging up on some part of that command center. If you can even force out any part of the mineral line to not be mining, then it's good for you. But hanging out right here in the middle of the map, you might as well be at home at this point. Because all it's going to do is open you up for some kind of counterattack from Jason. Okay, like that, a drop even. And Jason has been mining with about 40 SCVs. I mean, just say 35 to 40 SCVs. And I love his his decal. Jason's decal on his command center. This is his face. Just
so if Centaur can identify what Jason's doing before this drop hits, he can go all in and try to break this. He's actually got a small second army behind his frontliner army. If he just hits F2 and goes, he might be able to break the small army here.
Uh-oh. Well, he needs to go now because here comes Jason into the main base of Centaur. And this is +1 Marines, by the way. I don't know if they have stim yet. I don't believe they do. It's about halfway done.
Yeah, Jason, or Centaur rather, kind of indecisive at this moment. He's sending a few Marines down to try to help out with this, but you can't send 4 Marines against 8 Marines with medevacs.
With medevacs and +1.
That's not how fights work.
It just doesn't know, you know? It's like, but we have MMA training. It's like, we have guns. It's like, who cares?
All right, so Centaur is going. He's pulled the trigger. He's going to break that top ramp. If he can get on top of that one tank before it gets a chance to siege up, maybe he can try to make something happen here. All these Marines, though, with the concave, it looks like Jason takes a massive supply lead and most likely takes the game here.
That was a sick defense by Jason. Even going to the other side of the map to get that damage done. Getting that command center was the final straw that pushed Centaur to at least try to get something done there. But by that time, Jason knew exactly what he was in for, and he was able to defend it perfectly. So congratulations to Jason bringing it back. And what looked like a very grim scenario for University of Ontario is hot damn. Can I get my notebook out? Where's my notepad out? Hot damn. But no, it looked really bad for them, and now we're going to be going to the ace match.
Yeah, so don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back with the ace match after this quick break. And we're out.
but she said, trust me. These are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell. But I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I know God, let me
Right from the start, we knew that this would never be now, baby. Be now, baby. We're miles apart, and we just wanna let it free now, baby. Free now.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to our ace match here in the CSL. Things are all tied up between Temple and Ontario Tech, and we're gonna unveil our ace matches. It's Suppy versus Jason.
Whew. My goodness. I'm excited because this is going to be a really good match. I see some people in the chat. Printf saying that I think Suppy is favored, but Jason can win. And then we got some people saying 50-50 IMO Buster. So let us know in the chat if you are rooting for University of Ontario or if you are rooting for Temple. Can the underdogs do it, Joe?
We'll find out in just a moment here, because spawning in the top left-hand corner here on Acid Planet, it is Jason.
And in the bottom right-hand corner from University of Temple, aka, or not aka, but also representing Sloth Esports, it is Suppy.
This is kind of a clash of two of the titans of the CSL. Suppy like an S-tier player, I would say. Both these guys could probably be top 16 GM if they were playing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jason has been streaming a ton, or at least a lot more than Suppy has for sure. You know, so actively playing, but Suppy still manages to have like a 6K MMR without being in GM, as Joe was telling me earlier. Just because he probably doesn't play enough.
Just
you know
low-key 6K MMR.
Yeah, you know, ain't no thing. Ain't no thing. That must be the secret then, you know, because I play a lot, but I don't have 6K MMR, so maybe if I play less,
yeah, man,
I'll like look back at my profile and, you know, to just bump up 500 every time that I look away from it.
Hey, that's how you get the ladder points, right? You let that bonus pool accumulate.
Oh, yeah.
You get like 9 Smurfs, and then you just never play unless you have a bonus pool. Then your MMR can only go one way.
Exactly. Nowhere to go but up. So, we got our boy Jason sending out an SCV scout, by the way, so he's making sure to not get surprised by an early pool, because sometimes, of course, as a Zerg player, you can do that early pool and just try to cancel the command center, but Jason is not taking any chances at all by putting the command center on the high ground, because he did end up seeing that it was indeed an early pool.
And you know what, Kwame? Who can blame him when you find a factory in your third base, it puts you on edge for the rest of the series.
Rest of your life, you know. I bet every single game he's gonna check that top corner for a factory. I mean, you know what? He's probably checked it every game, and then that one time he finally gets the factory, and he's like, "Dang,
validated,
validated, yeah." That's all you need. That one time is all it matters.
All right, this Reaper does look to be maybe moving out here from Jason. Probably gonna want to keep it at home though, just because he did see the early pool, like you were saying. Not a lot of lings on the map by Suppy here.
No, I think Suppy knows that Jason knows.
Yeah.
He saw the Reaper hanging out there, but he sees the Reaper leave because of that Overlord that's positioned right outside of the natural. So he's gonna try to go in there, but to his surprise, there's gonna be well, not 2 Hellions just yet, but at least they're in production. It's not going to be a command center, though, that's for sure.
Okay, well, Suppy can maybe delay the command center just a bit here. No, not significantly with the timing of those Hellions. Perfectly timed here from Jason, who is also going to get the scout on Suppy's third. Yep. And I guess any moment counts, right? Like, you made the 2 lings. Why not use them to delay the command center?
You got to try it out. And the fact that he timed it out with speed means that he's going to be able to save them from the Hellions. And yeah, 2 lings really not that big of a deal, but hey, you know, I think just having them is really important, because then now you can at least save the rest of your larva for drones. You can try to cast the Reaper, get some good damage like he did there, or at least a little nibble. But the more important part is that he can use them to scout again. So if he goes out onto the map later on, he doesn't have to remake these 2. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just tilting, right? To lose your first 2 military units for free.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
it's
the good part is that he didn't invest
headspace.
4. You know, that would hurt if he invested 4 and then didn't get to do anything with them. So
all right,
these lings will find their day. They will find their way.
Early Raven coming out of Jason here.
Yeah, this is interesting, as we haven't seen too many Raven openers that often. I've seen like the Hellbat Raven push, but we haven't seen an Armory come out of Jason. So it makes me wonder if he's only using it to clear creep and do a little bit of harassment, like some light harassment, but he's making a second one.
This is Hellion heavy also.
Very. Which is why I
was a
expected there to be
prepared
an,
build, I
Armory.
think. This is, to me, this seems like it might be a build designed to kill Suppy, not just like a build he does on ladder.
Yeah. I mean, if he dropped the Armory, like I don't sound like a broken record, I would expect that, because I've seen this push happen. You put down the auto turret on top of the queens, and if you really want to get fancy, you can do the disabling, what the hell is it called?
Interference matrix?
Yeah, that thing.
the best name spell in StarCraft 2.
Interference matrix. I like that name. It's a lot better than anti-armor missile, you know, after it's had such a cooler name, like Hunter Seeker missile. Then it's like, no, let's take out the Hunter and just put Seeker missile.
I thought it was called Shredder missile.
Shredder missile?
Maybe that's like what I wanted it to be called.
Yeah. Shredder missile. I don't know, man.
Okay, well, here comes the push. He is going to be cleaning up that creep. You're talking about getting 2 active creep tumors at the front. A couple of turrets do come down. Transfuses save that 1 queen, but they're starting to get in the red. Some energy's burned, and Suppy doesn't have much to deal with this.
He really doesn't. He has some lings. He's getting double upgrades at the same time, but he doesn't lose any drones really there. So sometimes when the Hellions are able to get that maneuverability, you see just groups of drones fall at a time. But just against queens and lings, I don't know if pure Hellion is going to be the answer here. And we're seeing that by the defensive Suppy, who's managed to get to 61 drones during this all, which is amazing, actually, because I feel like if that push was with Hellbats, it would have been a little bit more tough. But I think Jason just didn't want to have the game be decided by the push. Because look at how many Hellions survive.
It seems like a weird spot here, just because, like, Jason has all these units. Now he has Armory on the way. So I guess he could still try to make it work. But at this point, like, Suppy's seen all these Hellions, and he made Banelings, because his brain was doing the same thing yours was, where it was like, whoa, that's a lot of Hellions. The Hellbat push has got to be coming soon, and he's going to be prepared if Jason does that.
Yeah. I'm actually a bit worried for Suppy here, because he's still going into the melee upgrades, and he hasn't dropped down a Roach Warren at all. Jason is going to be going for mech here, so Suppy may try to just go Hydra Bane against the mech until he gets up to Hive. But with Jason already transitioning into double factory, he could potentially hit some kind of a timing. You know, he has his third base already mining, and Suppy's going to be investing into melee, which isn't going to be like super amazing when you're going to be going against mainly tanks and Hellbats for the most part. So I guess it could work out for Suppy if he survives, but I definitely am going to be worried for him because against mech melee upgrades, yeah, man, they're just not as effective as against Bio until you get to the ultras, of course, but you tend to see more Broodlords against mech, which also I guess they help them too, but it's all about getting there, Joe.
Yeah, well, looks like Suppy gonna siphon off a large chunk of Lings here and actually go for a run by. This could be really nice to try to bring Jason home, although there are some tanks up front. If he could actually snag these, because there's no meat to buffer for this.
No. Well, I guess melee upgrades do really good against with run bys, as he does get into the natural, and there is really nothing here. Jason gonna take a lot of SCV kill or damage here.
Yeah,
Suppy holding on
those
the front.
kills starting to add up quickly. The +1 really kicking in here. These Hellions probably should clean this up eventually. But Jason forced to bring his army home. Suppy just bought himself a lot of breathing room here in this game.
This is so good by Suppy, getting the use of those Lings, being able to get 12 worker kills. That is such a good use for them. Because, I mean, against this many Hellions, they're not going to do too much. And I think it bought him enough time to get... Oh, he's not going for Bailing Speed. He's going to go right into Hive. So, very defensive position. I don't think we're going to see Suppy really move out with these Hydras. He's going to rely on the Lings to try to get damage done. Buy time. These second wave of Lings aren't going to be as successful, though. But I think he's confirmed that it's mech, you would say.
Yeah, I mean, you see the giant robots. You see the tanks. Even just the blue flame here, actually getting a lot of counter damage here by Jason. That blue flame, your drone line is just so vulnerable once that kicks in.
Yeah. 8 workers go down, so we're looking at 64 to 66, despite the fact that Jason just lost so many too. So, yeah, that's not bad at all. Jason definitely making it work here, or making it happen, as some would say. But I think it's a time thing at this point, and Jason, he needs to make some kind of a push happen before that Hive tech really starts to kick in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, as Suppy going to be chasing away these Hellions. What do you think Jason's going to aim to hit around like 160 supply with like tanks and Thors and Ravens and Hellbats and just try to make that work? I mean, you can go into the late game, right, if you have like a huge Raven cloud, but it suddenly your engagements become really, really complicated as Terran.
They do. You know, you introduce Vipers into the equation, Blinding Cloud and Abducts are able to take out your important units, but Jason is making 3 tanks at a time, and Suppy is opting to go for Ultras, so there's not going to be that taking advantage of the glaring weakness of mech by having a lack of anti-air before they really get enough Vikings, Ravens, and Thors out. So, I mean, the Ultras are good units, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, unless he's going to try to brute force Jason.
I think that's exactly what he's going to try to do. I think he's probably going to try to steamroll Jason with maybe 1 or 2 waves of Ultras. And then you can knock him down to like 2 bases and then transition out into maybe like Vipers and Broodlords and those more high-tech units.
Oh, I do fear a bit though, you know, like Acid Plant is one of those maps where there are quite a few chokes. A lot of the engagements you're going to be taking aren't going to be in open field. So Suppy, he doesn't have Bailing Speed, so he's not going to have a really great way to deal with Hellbats. And he's already using some of them on these Hellions, which is nice, I guess. But I do worry for him. Unless he gets some Vipers out, he's going to try to get the Spire down now. But Jason is going to be going on to 2-2. Suppy doesn't have any ranged upgrades right now, and he has a hell of a lot of Queens and Hydra. It's mainly going to be the Ultras here, Joe. Do you think the Ultras can actually be the X factor here?
Well, there's no Liberators in play.
No Liberators, you're right. No Ghosts. A lot of tanks, though. And I think Jason is expecting Broodlords and Vipers. Like, look how many Vikings he's investing into.
Yeah, Vikings aren't going to do anything against this army. I think if those Ultras can get in a good position, chomp through the tanks, and then you see just a huge flood of units behind it, Suppy may be able to steamroll the army, especially if Jason's in an extended position like this.
Yeah, and if he traps himself in these trenches here with all of his tanks, it's going to be all about the spread here. He cannot clump up his tanks because the Ultras are going to be way too effective. All right, well, here we go. This is a very scary moment for Jason, realizing, like, okay, where the Broodlords at? He's thinking right now, okay, it's got to be Broodlords coming. But it's going to be Ultras coming from multiple sides.
Yeah, you think seeing those queens might tip him off? There's so many at the front here.
Yeah, I just really wish that Suppy had some Blinding Cloud, or at least a few Vipers. He's going to try to just brute force it, Joe. And here it goes from the right and the south. From the south.
Yeah, here come those anti-armor missiles, and that's going to make the Ultralisks a lot softer here. They're chewing through the front line. They do have those armor upgrades, but with those missiles, they're still dying
The transfuses.
fast.
Oh my god, Suppy is going to push on through.
Yeah, and he's going to make it to that fourth base of Jason, and he's still got all the Hydras at the back to actually deal the damage. He can right-click on bases, and they're going to fall quickly.
Whoa. Okay, then. Suppy, really proving me wrong here. I wasn't sure how well that was going to go. He goes in with the +3/+3. When you're ahead in upgrades against the Terran, you always feel great. And just never letting those Ultra, well, at least this Ultra die.
Yeah, it's weird to say like a 12-minute timing, but in a lot of ways, like when you play that Ling-heavy, super defensive, where you're just cranking out your upgrades, it is a timing because you hit +3 at a time when the Terran is not thinking the Zerg should be on +3, right? They should be like fighting to keep their economy alive while they're on +2. But Suppy just made so many drones in the beginning and defended it with Lings and Queens only, and because of that, he was able to get this kind of like, it sounds weird to say, but like a low tier 3 army out really quickly.
He got it out very quickly. And you make that good point. The fact that there were so many Hellions that were made by Jason, and Suppy's like, you know what? I don't need roaches. Ain't nobody got time for roaches. And he invested into the melee upgrades. So once that push actually happened, he's able to just push on in with 3/3, or what is it, 3/5 Ultras even? So
yeah,
what an awesome way to do it without any Vipers. I never would have thought it to be possible against that many tanks.
There's an Ultralisk run-by going on. Well, the main battle happens here, and Suppy's just chomping through Jason's SCVs. At the same time, he's forcing Jason's to stay defensive on the other position here. These Ultras, actually, some of them might even manage to get home here. Every single one of them survives.
And he goes back in to take out that building command center. It gets canceled, but he might lose that one low health one. But does it even matter at this point? He is nearly maxed against a 118 supply Jason, who is struggling to hold on any front, losing another orbital command. Suppy is just dominating this game right now.
Yeah.
Expanding all over the map. His creep spread is really coming into full stride now, too.
And Kwame, maybe Suppy's listening to the stream because he's finally producing those Vipers that you've been asking for.
It doesn't need him anymore, right? Like, it's like, God, Suppy, you already proved your point. You don't need him. We get it.
No, this is the one part of the game where you can actually lose with this kind of strategy, especially on a map like Acid Planet, just because you're pinned in so hard in some of these chokes, right? And if you get cocky and you just try to steamroll, you might steamroll into a big tank line and be broke.
That's what I was afraid of in the beginning, right? But I guess the position that Jason did engage in favored Suppy, especially because Suppy didn't just face roll, or at least, put his face on his keyboard and say, okay, we're gonna move right. He actually came from 2 different angles. That made it so much more effective, and Jason wasn't even tucked into a planetary or anything like that. He was trying to make a push of his own happen, and he just got completely swallowed up by the Zerg army. So I get what you're saying, though, because if you do try to attack into a very tucked in Terran and you don't have the Vipers and you just kind of funnel your units, then yeah, you're gonna lose so much more.
Oh, I love these non-stop Ultralisk run-bys. I think it's mostly just because I like saying Ultralisk run-by.
You don't get to say that often, do you?
No, they are going to get taken down by the Thors pretty efficiently, but here's the main army flanking like you were saying, and...
GG.
GG is called. Temple takes it 3-2 and advances on into the round of 8 here in the playoffs. Ontario. Yeah, Ontario Tech is out for the season. But congrats to Temple.
Yeah, but Ontario definitely made Temple sweat there, right? Getting to that ace match, it's like, oh, wow, well, Suppy, don't F this one up, dude, It's all on you, dog.
Yeah.
And
you don't want your tournament like life to come down to beating Jason in a best of one, right?
Right, exactly.
Jason's a really good player and he can beat a lot of people in a best of one. He could beat Suppy in a best of one, but he didn't do it today.
That he did not, but he put up a good fight. Suppy was able to just seal the deal for his team, and this is the #1 seed, of course, definitely representing to the fullest. But I thought, University of Ontario, they did a really good job. That 2v2 was great. Shows that, it doesn't always matter if you have like the star players, as long as you're able to at least not get that 0-3 sweep. You can bring it back if they end up using their players in the wrong way. So say it was Jason versus Tesla or something, and Jason felt more comfortable against Tesla because like Suppy played in the 2v2 or something like that. So
yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday with our next playoff match. I think that's going to be another one from the round of 16, so be sure to catch that again. That's going to be next Tuesday, and until next time, this was the CSL. I'm Joe, with me was Tempo, and have a great evening.